How do you do? My name's Ollie, and here is your loaf of daily bread. Today's loaf of bread comes to us from a familiar face, one that I have been quoting extensively lately, Marcus Aurelius. And he says, "Remember to retire into this little territory of your own, and above all, do not distract or strain yourself, but be free, and look at things as a man or as a woman, as a human being, as a citizen, as a mortal. But among the things readiest to your hand, to which you shall turn, let there be these, which are two. One is that things do not touch the soul, for they are external and remain unmovable. But our disturbances come only from the opinion which is within. The other is that all these things which you see change immediately and will no longer be. And constantly bear in mind how many of these changes you have already witnessed. The universe is transformation. Life is opinion." Well, it's a long passage, but my friends, it can be summarized in the very last line. The universe is transformation. Life is opinion. If you can keep these 2 points at the very forefront of your mind most of the time, then you're going to have a much easier time with life, and you're going to get a lot more joy and a lot more peace out of the things that happen. As a simple mantra, that last line is very effective. But in this particular case, I want to unpack it a bit, and of course Marcus Aurelius does this for us in the preceding lines. First, he coaches himself to remember that things outside of himself cannot penetrate into the soul, the mind, or the inner sanctum. He says, when we feel disturbed or when we suffer, it's not because of these external things, but rather because of the opinions that we hold within ourselves. This is old news. I've been talking about this since the very first video that I made, and I keep bringing it back because it's simple yet very, very profound. It's simple in that if you study yourself and if you try to regard things objectively, you will rapidly see that it's very, very true. That there is no truth. That everything is just a matter of perspective and opinion. And of course, we have the power to change our opinions at any time. It's not necessarily an easy thing to do, but it can be done. I know for myself, my opinions on various topics have changed radically over the course of my life, even over the course of the last few years. We have to constantly be revising and, if necessary, amending our opinions. And if we do this, we'll see that our reactions to the external world change as well. So there you go. If you want to protect yourself from the outer world, if you want to defend yourself against misfortune and the ill will of others, if you just want to have protection from everything that the world can throw at you, seek that protection within yourself. And furthermore, cultivate that protection by managing your opinions intelligently and carefully. Now, the second point that he brings up is the idea that everything is constantly changing. He says as soon as you see something and you turn away, you look back, it has already changed. It's no longer the same. And then he says, constantly remind yourself how many of these types of changes you've already seen in your life. Whether they're minor or major, if you pay attention, you will see that the universe is indeed a process of constant transformation. Now, of course, from our perspective as human beings, it is sometimes difficult to notice the more subtle changes that are occurring. For instance, our eyes lack the magnifying capabilities required to see the constant transformations that happen at the molecular and submolecular level. The constant movement of atoms and particles. We don't see these things. So it's important that we remind ourselves that these things are happening, that the universe is in a state of constant movement and transformation. So these are the 2 points that he coaches himself to remember. Everything in our lives is a matter of opinion. And of course, point number 2, the universe is transformation. Everything is constantly changing. Nothing stands still. 2 helpful reminders for me, which I now pass on to you. That's all I've got for you today, my friends. Thanks once again for joining me, and don't forget to live well.